Hi everyone, and welcome to my attempt at a Fire Red Hardcore Nuzlocke using normal types only. The normal type is a very interesting type as it hits nothing for super effective damage. It's also only weak to fighting and it even resists Ghost. Overall, normal types tend to be either really solid or early game encounters, but in this run I'm going to put them to the test. Before we start the video, I would really appreciate it if you left a like and maybe even subscribe if you enjoyed the video. But without further ado, here are all the available Pokemon for this run. We've got Pidgeot, Raticate, Fearow, Clefable, Wigglytuff, Persian, Farfetch'd, Dodrio, Lickitung, Chansey, Kangaskhan, Tauros, Ditto, Eevee, Porygon and Snorlax. Now, not all of these are available to us. Lickitung is only available for a trade and we are only allowed to capture normal types, so we can't do the trade. The same goes for Farfetch'd. And Porygon is only available in the game corner for 9,999 coins, and somehow I don't think we need him. Lastly, there's the Safari Zone, one of the main reasons why I decided to do a normal run. Because if we play our cards right, we can get a very unique normal type encounter here. Either a Tauros, a Chansey or a Kangaskhan. All are pretty cool and I haven't really used any of them before. So here's a list of all the actual encounters we can catch this run. Pidgeot, Raticate, Fearow, Clefable, Wigglytuff, Persian, Dodrio, Ditto, Eevee, Snorlax, Porygon and either a Chansey, Tauros or Kangaskhan. On the surface, this doesn't seem like a difficult challenge. Early game will be tough with Brock, the rock type gym leader, but aside from Brock, we have a decent matchup against almost all of the important battles. It might just be that the hikers are going to be our biggest problem. We do have access to some amazing encounters. Fearow and Dodrio are amazing flying types, Snorlax is of course great, and all of these Safari mons are pretty decent. On top of that, there's always the chance for a Guts Raticate. Of course we'll be playing this with the Hardcore Nuzlocke rules in mind. If a Pokemon faints, he can no longer be used. We can only catch the first Pokemon on every route. We can't overlevel the next gym leader's highest Pokemon. We cannot use items in battle, and battle mode is always to be in set. I also play with Dupe's Claws, which allows me to reroll an encounter I already have. We start our journey with picking a starter. It doesn't really matter what starter I pick, as none will be super effective against me and I will not be super effective against any of them. So I went with Squirtle. We did some stuff for Professor Oak, received some Pokeballs and headed to Route 1. Here we catch our actual starter, a Pidgey. I name him Creatine. On Route 2 we catch our second Pokemon, a Rattata. I name him Arginine. I was really hoping for a Guts Rattata, as he's kind of busted, but we got a Runaway Rattata, a pretty useless ability. On Route 22 we catch our final encounter for the first gym leader, a Spearow. I name him Carnitine. With our new team we took easy care of our rival and we moved through the forest without a problem. But as we arrive in Pewter City I can already smell some resets. Brock uses rock type Pokemon and I have 2 parts flying Pokemons and only normal moves to attack him with. And with the high defense of rock Pokemon, my already not very effective normal moves will do even less damage. After some resetting and strategizing, I came up with a plan. It wasn't an ironclad plan, but it was the best I came up with. I opened the battle with Creatine and I could pull 4 sand attacks without being hit. That was an amazing start, as the Geodude would now have very high chances of missing its moves. I swap into Carnitine and I proceed to use Fury Attack. Fury Attack allows me to do more than 1 HP damage, as it hits multiple times. This really was the only way I could get some damage off. It took some time, but the Geodude went down, leaving all the mons basically at full health. In comes the Onix. I proceed to use Growl a total of 4 times. Meanwhile, Onix misses 4 rock tombs in a row. Carnitine got really lucky here. He then started to use some Fury attacks and Carnitine seems unstoppable. Until the Onix got a crit, moving through all the attack lowering Growls and killing Carnitine. Damn, first gym and already a loss. I swapped in Arginine and a couple of Hyper Fangs took care of the Onix. Rattata really is an amazing early game encounter. It can potentially have Guts, but it also gets early access to Hyper Fang, an 80 base power stab move. But with that we collect our first badge. Sadly we already have to leave behind one of our team members. Thank you for your work, Carnitine. On Route 3 we can already catch our next encounter though. There's a 10% chance to encounter a Jigglypuff here. So we run around for a little while and we catch it. I name him Glutamine. In Mount Moon we can catch our next encounter, a Clefairy. He's only a 1% encounter, so it took some while before we found him. But as we finally found him, I catch him and name him Citrulline. In Mount Moon we also had our first save of Team Rocket. They really didn't do anything though, so let's hope we can crush them every time. We also picked up this celestial item called the Helix Fossil. I'm not sure why, but it feels like it's divine. Outside of Mount Moon there are 2 fighter dudes. One taught my Citrulline the move Mega Punch and the other taught my Glutamine the move Mega Kick. These are some powerful but inaccurate staff moves that will really be helpful in the oncoming battles. And after that we arrive in Cerulean City. We beat up the gym trainers here, and before battling Misty I wanted to take on a rival on the Nugget Bridge. I open with Arginine, and he starts with Pidgeotto. 3 Hyper Fangs take care of the Pidgeotto, and in comes Eradicate. With that I switch to Glutamine. Glutamine is hit, but his Q-Charm activates. I then put the Rattata to sleep and the Mega Kick finishes it off. Then comes the Abra, which can literally do no damage, so I use him to get Citrulline in. In retrospect, I'm not sure why, as I know there's an incoming Bulbasaur, so Creatine would be much better. But yeah, I take out the Abra and in comes the Bulbasaur. Now I do switch in Creatine, but I'm put to sleep. After that, I'm also Leech Seeded, so I had to switch a few times, and after some time, Creatine finally wakes up and 2-shots the Bulbasaur. After the battle, Arginine evolves into Eradicate, a true powerhouse and our ace for the next gym. After taking on the Nugget Bridge, I realized I have a Moonstone, so I decided to use it on Citrulline to evolve it into a Clefable. I then see another normal type Pokemon, so I approach it. Turns out he's named Bill, and he needs our help to return to his normal form. Is he a Ditto? With all of that behind us, it's finally time for the gym leader. I lead with Citrulline and hit a Mega Punch. I then put the Staryu to sleep and switch in Arginine. Arginine then Hyper Fangs the Staryu and in comes the Starmie. I use Hyper Fang again and the Starmie flinches. Another Hyper Fang easily wins the battle. After that I make my way to Route 5. Where I can encounter a Meowth. I catch it and name him Tyrosine. Tyrosine has the ability Pickup, which will be great as he'll pick up berries in this game. We can use these berries in the battles to come. And a little while later I arrive in Vermilion City. Here I can enjoy a nice cruise before taking on the gym leader. I'm not particularly worried about Lieutenant Surge, but I also know he won't be a breeze like Misty was. While making my way through the boat, I got attacked by my rival again. Now I always tend to lose a Pokemon during this rival fight, so I'm a bit worried. I open with Citrulline and use Mega Punch. He misses a few and is sand attacked a few times, so I switch him for Creatine. A Gust and a Quick Attack combo take out the Pidgeotto. In comes Eradicate and I send in my own Eradicate. He Hyper Fangs me for half damage, but I one-shot him with my Hyper Fang. The Kadabra is also one-shotted by Hyper Fang and 2 more Hyper Fangs take care of the Ivysaur. We then help the captain, we receive HM Cut and we leave the boat. Against Surge I open with Citrulline. He 2-shots the Voltorb and in comes the Pikachu. I put the Pikachu to sleep, but Surge uses a full heal. Not that it mattered, as Mega Punch one-shots it. We do get paralyzed by Pikachu's static, but our Cherry Berry took care of that. Lastly is Raichu, who is an easy job for Arginine. Arginine is paralyzed, but he also has a Cherry Berry. 2 Hyper Fangs later and he's done for. With that we now have 3 badges. We make our way east of Cerulean City, where we're about to meet the biggest challenge yet, Rock Cave. There are a lot of hikers here and I can't really touch them. Luckily I did get through unharmed, but it wasn't easy. There was a lot of backtracking and healing, but eventually we arrived in Lavender Town. From Lavender Town it's a straight shot to Celadon, where I can pick up the next encounter. There's 3 Eevee here, who I picked up and I named him Glycine. In Celadon City we can also find the 4th gym leader, Erica, the grass type specialist. Luckily we have Creatine, who single-handedly swept here. I forgot to press record on the first victory bell, but you can imagine that it was a simple one-shot with Wing Attack. He then proceeds to use 3 more Wing Attacks on the Tangela and the Vileplume to win us the battle. Out of the 3 easy gyms, this one was by far the easiest. We then take on the Rocket Game Corner. We can actually buy a new team member here, Porygon, but he's super expensive. Also, I already picked up an Eevee in Celadon City, so I'll just let it be. In the Game Corner we did pick up an extra Moonstone, so we used it to evolve Glutamine into a Wigglytuff. Eventually we made our way to Giovanni. I opened with Citrulline and I tried to get the Onix to sleep. It took a few turns, but eventually he was asleep. I then started to use Mega Punch a few times, but Onix woke up after 1 turn. I then tried to use Sing again, but we missed a few more. Finally though, it landed. With the Onix asleep, I swapped in Tyrosine. Tyrosine knows Dark type moves, which can actually do damage against Rock types. 3 Feint attacks took out the Onix. In comes the Rhyhorn, who I also took out with 3 Feint attacks. Lastly was the Kangaskhan, and I swapped into Glutamine. Glutamine used Mega Kick for nice damage, but was put in the yellow by Mega Kick as well. I swapped into Arginine to use Hyper Fang, which took it down to a quarter. I then used Hyper Fang again, but missed. Luckily the Kangaskhan also misses Mega Kick, otherwise Arginine would probably be dead. Creatine came in to finish off the Kangaskhan with a Wing Attack and Quick Attack combo. This was way too close. After that I made my way to the Pokemon Tower to beat up my rival and prepared to take care of some Rocket Grunts. Before I could reach the Rocket Grunts I had to beat this Ghost Marowak, so that went easily, right? Nope, Arginine got taken out by a Boomerang. Damn, that really sucks. Arginine was such an amazing team member, carrying us through many battles. You will be missed. After losing one of my favorite guys, I beat up Team Rocket and saved Mr. Fuji. In return, I got the Poke Flute. This opened up the most powerful encounter for this run, Snorlax. I stocked up on Pokeballs and made my way down to Route 12. Here I had my first chance of catching Snorlax. Snorlax isn't that easy to catch, and luckily there are 2 possible encounters, but I'd rather get him first try. It took some time, but we got him first try. I named him Protein. On the way to Fuchsia City, I got another Pokemon, a Ditto. I named him Theanine and placed it in the box. On Route 18, I got another Pokemon, a Doduo. I named him Alanine. I then took a look at the Safari Zone encounter chart, and I decided that Tauros would be our guy. There was one section in the Safari Zone where I have a 4% chance of encountering a Tauros and a 1% chance of encountering a Kangaskhan. This is basically an 80% chance of Tauros for us. These were my best odds, but before I could get there I needed to be able to use Surf. I also realized that my team was a bit underleveled, so I started to grind up, and while grinding, Creatine evolved into a Pidgeot. But before taking on the gym leaders, it was time to storm Silphco. I always found it quite weird how the main plot is an evil team taking over a corporate building, but oh well. During my conquest, I found my rival, who really wasn't doing anything here, he was just standing there, okay. Anyway, I battled him and accidentally opened with Tyrosine. I quickly switched back to Protein and 2 body slams took out the Pidgeot. In comes the Gyarados, and with a few body slams and paralysis, we take it out. It did leave us at 2 HP though, so it's time to switch out. In comes Creatine to take out the Groudon, and then it's time for the Alakazam. I'm actually quite scared of this thing, so I sand attacked him. He uses Future Sight, so I have to keep that in mind. 2 wing attacks take it out though, and in comes the Venusaur. I bring in Glutamine. The Venusaur puts me to sleep and I swap back to Creatine. 2 wing attacks take it out. After that we have to face Giovanni again. He leads with a Nidorino and I lead with Tyrosine. I use 4 Paydays and take it out. In comes the Nido Queen and I swap to Protein. I use a few Surfs and finish the Nido off. Surf didn't do a lot of damage, but luckily I got a crit. In comes Kangaskhan, who was causing trouble the last time. I send in Creatine, but his wing attacks really don't do much. I use a few sand attacks to get him to miss and I swapped into Glutamine. 2 Mega Kicks take care of the Kangaskhan. Lastly is the Rhyhorn, who I used Flash on. This was really stupid as the Rhyhorn hits a Rock Blast, which hit 4 times, taking out Glutamine. In comes Protein and 1 Surf takes it out. Damn, another loss. Glutamine was actually pretty nice, so he'll be missed. But with Silphco behind us, it's time to take on Koga. I didn't really feel like grinding up, so most of our guys are around level 38, while Koga's are around level 43. I opened with Alanine against Koga's Coughing. 2 Tri-Attacks take care of it. In comes a Muk, and he is also hit by Tri-Attack. He uses Toxic on me, so Alanine is now on a timer. 1 more Tri-Attack takes him into the red, but Alanine can no longer live another hit. He switched out for Citrulline and the Muk is healed up. Citrulline uses Strength a few times, but he's also toxic. A few more Strengths take the Muk into the red, but once again he's healed up. The Muk has set up a lot of minimizes, so I switch to Tyrosine. Tyrosine knows Feint Attack, which can't miss. He hits a few of them, but he too is poisoned. As Muk's on low health, I swap into Protein, who finally takes it out with a Body Slam. The Coughing is also killed with Body Slamming Protein, and in comes the ace, Weezing. Weezing takes 1 Body Slam relatively well, but Protein managed to get a crit, taking out the Weezing. With this badge we can now use Surf, giving us access to Tauros. I enter the Safari Zone, I go to the zone where we have a 4% chance of finding a Tauros, and we catch it. I name him Taurine. Taurine replaces Glycine the Eevee, who will once again be the bench warmer. With that I can level up to the level cap of 43 and challenge Sabrina. Sabrina is always a difficult leader with her powerful psychic types, and it will be no different here. Oh wait, Tauros literally clean swept Sabrina, only getting hit once. Damn, am I happy I caught the Tauros. I never really used the Tauros either. I always play Nuzlocke and it isn't often that you can encounter a Tauros in Fire Red or Leaf Green while playing a Nuzlocke. Kind of sad, now that I see how awesome he is. Now with Surf we can make our way south to Cinnabar Island. Here we first have to go through the Cinnabar Mansion to retrieve a key. Then it's time to take on Blaine. I definitely brought a Burn Heal, but I'm not sure if I'm going to need it. I open this fight with Protein, who nearly one-shots a Growlithe. The next Surf gets a high roll, taking out the now fully healed Growlithe. In comes Ponyta, who took 3 Surfs as he was healed up as well. Eventually he went down without a problem. Thirdly came the Rapidash and 2 Surfs took it out. Lastly came the Arcanine. I hit 1 critical hit Surf, but Arcanine took me into the red. I swapped into Creatine to hopefully take it out, but he didn't. Arcanine then used Fire Blast, nearly taking me out. Luckily I survived, but he burned me. Guess I do need that burn here now, but I can't use items in battle. The burn took me down to literally 1 HP. I then weighed my option and I hoped that a quick attack would take out the Arcanine, and it did. I was severely underleveled for this gym. Arcanine is level 49 and my highest guy was level 45. Well anyway, we won and we now have 7 badges. After taking out Blame, we were picked up by Bill for some random side quest. We had to move through some routes, follow some bikers and save the little girl from a hypno. Like, really? After that I realized I needed to do some grinding. I've been underleveled for the past 3 gyms, so I needed some extra levels. While grinding I actually found a shiny Spearow. Damn, I really hate the fact that I lost my own Spearow now. I could have used the shiny Pokemon for the remainder of this run. That really sucks. Oh well. After the Stuffy Islands plot, it was time to take on Giovanni. I opened with Protein and used Surf on the Rhyhorn. This one-shots him easily. In comes the Nidoqueen and 2 more Surfs take it down. The same goes for the Nidoking, and although this one took a little longer because Giovanni healed it 2 times. Eventually it did go down though. Protein is running quite low in health, so on the Dugtrio I switched out. I swapped into Citrulline and 2 Strengths take care of it. Lastly was another Rhyhorn, so I swapped in Creatine. I sand attacked him once and then used Fly. Fly does next to nothing, so I swap in Alanine. I spammed Fly and Drill Peck, and eventually the Rhyhorn went down. And with that we now have all 8 badges. This meant that it was time to head to the Elite Four, but before we do that we had to fight a rival one last time. I open with Taurine and use Horn Attack. It does half damage, but the Pidgeot used Feather Dance, so we now don't do nearly as much damage as we used to do. So I swap into Tyrosine, who takes it out with a Slash. In comes a Rhyhorn, so I swap into Protein to use Surf. Protein has quickly become our rock type killer and I love it. With Rhyhorn out, he sends in Gyarados. 2 body slams, of which 1 crit, take it out. The incoming Growlithe also catches the Surf and goes down. In comes the Alakazam, who I body slammed. Alakazam uses Disable, so I switch over to Headbutts. While attacking him, Alakazam used Psychic and got a crit, leaving Protein at 12 HP. The Headbutt almost takes it out, but leaves it in the red. I switch in Taurine, who is hit hard and left in the red as well. Luckily, he outspeeds and kills the Alakazam. Phew, that was scary, but it isn't over yet, he still has a Venusaur. Luckily I have 2 birds in the back. Alanine comes in and Drill Pecks it down. Overall it was quite an easy battle, only Alakazam was scary. Let's hope we can crush him again in the future. Victory Road was a breeze and we lost nobody. Our final team is looking really solid. Snorlax, Pidgeot, Dodrio, Persian, Clefable and Tauros. The only mons I remember having used before are Pidgeot and Dodrio, so this team is not only powerful, but also new and exciting. We have leveled everyone up to the level cap of 60 and it's time to go. The first Elite Four we have to beat is Lorelei. I open with Tyrosine, who now knows Thunderbolt and Fake Out. I used the Fake Out for good measure and then a Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt paralyzes the Dewgong. Funnily enough, the Dewgong set up a safeguard that turn, right after getting paralyzed. 1 more Thunderbolt takes care of the first Elite Four one, and in comes a Cloyster, who is also one-shotted by Thunderbolt. In comes a Slowbro, who is 2-shotted by Thunderbolt. When a Lapras comes in, it's time to switch Tyrosine out. I send in my bulkiest dude, Protein, who eats up the Ice Beam like it's nothing. I deal out 2 body slams, but I got a critical hit and frozen in the same turn. How unlucky. With that, I switch into Taurine, who immediately gets frozen as well. It just keeps getting unluckier. I try to thaw out, but it doesn't work. With Taurine frozen and in the red, I need to switch. In comes Citrulline, who uses Strength and leaves the Lapras on what I assume is about 1 HP. This Lapras really sucks. It now also gets healed up to full by Lorelei, so we're back to square one. I use a few more Strengths and 1 actually hits a crit. Finally something in my favor. Lapras then uses Confuse Ray and is once again healed to full. My god. Luckily I snap out of Confusion the second turn and I hit a few more Strengths. Citrulline manages to take it out, but it leaves him on just 21 HP. The Lapras is down though. In comes the last mon, Jinx, and I only have 2 birds and a cat left over. I swap him into Alanine, who is hit into the red. I'm now in big trouble. Knowing I'd lose something, I decide Alanine has to be the one since he's already 1 in. I go for Fly, and by some miracle, it hits a critical hit, one-shotting the Jinx. This was a rough battle, but we made it. Next is Bruno, who won't be nearly as challenging. He opens with Onyx and I accidentally open with Alanine, expecting a fighting type. I swap into Protein, who uses Surf and takes it down. In comes Hitmonchan, so now it's time for Alanine to shine. He takes a Sky Uppercut, but manages to one-shot the Chan with a Drill Peck. The Machamp meets the same fate and so does the Hitmonlee. In comes the last Onyx, who is taken down by Protein Surf. At the end of the battle, he dares to say, "How did I lose?" As if you didn't have 2 Onyxes, one of the worst Pokemons to exist. Moving on to Agatha, I open with Citrulline against her Gengar. I thought Citrulline Psychic for this very reason, and it nearly one-shots the Gengar. Gengar is huge and confuses me, but eventually Citrulline takes it out. In comes Golbat, who is almost one-shotted by Psychic again. A few turns later, the Golbat falls. In comes Arbok, who is put down to a third by Psychic. The next Psychic should take him down, but Sludge Bomb crit kills Citrulline. Damn, that honestly sucks. I really like Citrulline and I never really used him before. Taurine came in to avenge Citrulline and used Earthquake. He then uses Pursuit on the incoming Gengar and is put to sleep himself. I swap into Protein, who I learned Shadow Ball before the battle as kind of a backup plan. One Shadow Ball takes care of the Gengar. Agatha's last Pokemon is a Haunter who puts me to sleep, but I wake up quickly and put him down with another Shadow Ball. Now it's time for Lance. I have a feeling we'll see Lance in the next video as well, but for now we just have to take him out with our normal types. Before the battle starts, I teach Ice Beam to Protein. I lead with Tyrosine and proceed to fake out the Gyarados. I then use Thunderbolt to take him out easily. Lance then sends his Aerodactyl, who uses Scary Face. However, Thunderbolt puts him below half, so I keep Tyrosine in. Another Thunderbolt should do the trick, unless it low rolls, which it does. Lance uses a full restore on the arrow and I use another Thunderbolt. I manage to paralyze it, so I'm now faster again. But again a low roll, leaving it on what is about 1 HP. Luckily he doesn't heal and another Thunderbolt takes it out. In comes a Dragonite and I switch into Protein to use Ice Beam. Protein eats up the Hyper Beam, so it can now get in 2 free Ice Beams. The Dragonite does get off 1 wing attack, but Protein takes it down. The remaining 2 Dragonairs are easy prey for Protein's Ice Beams, giving us a relatively easy victory over Lance. Now it's time for the champion, our rival. I once again open with our Fake Out Tyrosine. After Fake Out, 2 more Thunderbolts take care of the Pidgeot easily. In comes the Alakazam, who caused a lot of trouble earlier. I send in Creatine, who is hit down to the yellow. I need to get a hit off though, so I use Fly. Fly takes it down to half and Alakazam uses Future Sight. Another Fly takes care of the Alakazam. This one was much easier than previous time. As a Rhydon comes in, Creatine is hit by the Future Sight, bringing him to the red. Not wanting to switch anyone into Rhyhorn's move, I decided to sack Creatine and use Sand Attack. Takedown takes out our beloved starter. I send in Protein and a Surf take care of the Rhyhorn. In comes Gyarados and I proceed to use Body Slams. This took quite a while as our rival heals him up, but eventually we switch to Tyrosine, who uses Thunderbolt and takes it out. In comes Arcanine and looking at my team I'm not really sure what to do. I needed Alanine for the Venusaur and Protein is on low health. With that I decided to use Slash with Tyrosine, letting him go down to the Arcanine. Rest in peace buddy. I bring in Taurine to use Earthquake and he gets a crit, one-shotting the Nene. Lastly is Venusaur, and since he's part poison, I just spam Earthquake. The Venusaur sets up a sunny day and eventually one-shots Taurine. Damn, I did not know that that could happen. I did expect some damage, but a clear one-shot, not even crit, I didn't expect that. It did give me a clean switch into Alanine though, who managed to take down the Venusaur with Drill Peck. And with that, we're the champion. We only have 2 out of the 6 team members left, but I'm happy that we won. I always like to play the champion battle more aggressively, as it's the last battle in the game. Some stacks to give us clean switches are part of that strategy. Overall, I really enjoyed this run. Kanto is always nice to play through. It's such a simple and relatively easy game, which makes it perfect for Nuzlocke. I also had a blast playing with normal types only. Tauros, Clefable, Wigglytuff and Persian are all Pokemon I never really used. Of course it's always nice to use Snorlax again, and man was he a beast. But as I've kind of spoiled with Lance, the next run will be in Hard Gold. It will be a ground type only run. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.